Hello and welcome to day 2 of an Undertale Christmas. Today we're going to be making a Sans head ornament. So what you'll need is some Carnival 8-ply white wool. You can get this from Big W for $3.50, a 4mm hook, and a little bit of wool to use as a stitch marker. Later on, you're going to be needing some felt in black and white and some glue. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to make a magic ring with 6 stitches inside it. So that's my slip, and that is my first stitch. Going back in, that's my second, third, fourth, 5th and 6th. Now my magic rings aren't the best, but we'll be hiding the extra tail that I'll create inside of the craft, so it's not going to matter. So for row 2, I'm just going to increase up to 12. So that means I'm going to be putting 2 single crochets in every stitch until we get to 12. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now that I've just finished that row, I've just turned it over and I'm going to tie up the little tails, so then that way I won't have any loose threads poking through the good side of the project. And now that that's done, we're going to move on to row 3 and we're going to be increasing up to 18 stitches. So I'll just put in my stitch marker and walk you through this row. So we're going to do 1 single crochet in that stitch and then we're going to increase. So that's 2 and 3. 1 single crochet, 4. Now we're going to increase 5, 6. 1 single crochet, 7. Now we're going to increase 8, 9. 1 single crochet, 10. Increase 11, 12. 1 single crochet, 13. Increase 14, 15. 1 single crochet, 16. Increase 17 and 18. So with this next row we're going to be increasing up to 24. So that will mean we'll do 1 single crochet in each stitch for 2 and then we're going to increase. So that's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet. Now we're going to increase 3 and 4, 5, 6, time for an increase, 7, 8, 9, 10, time for an increase, 11, 12, 13, 14. Time for an increase, 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. Oh, this is the increase, sorry. And 20. 21. 22. Time for the increase, 23. And 24. So for the next 3 rows, all you're going to do is just put 1 single crochet in each stitch all around, making 24 in total, and you're going to do that for the next 3 rows. So I'm just going to speed through the next 3 rows and meet you back here. See you soon. Hello and welcome back. So in this row we're going to be increasing up to 30, which will mean 1 single crochet in each 3 stitches and then an increase. So I'll just walk you through it. That's 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to increase. 1, 2. So that makes a total of 5. So here we go, 6, 7, 8, time for an increase, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, time for an increase, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, time for an increase, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, time for an increase, 24, 25, 26, 27. I must have miscounted a stitch there, probably when I fell off the camera, and then I wound up having to fix that up later, but you should wind up with a total of 30. Okay, so for this next row you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches and then increase. So that's 2, 3, 4, and time for an increase, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, time for an increase, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, time for an increase, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, time for an increase, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, time for an increase, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, time for an increase, 35, 36, and at that point I didn't realize that I had made a mistake. I thought I just miscounted, so just ignore the fact that I had an extra stitch there. And so for this next row, you're just going to be putting one single crochet in each stitch to get to 36 again. So you're not increasing, not decreasing, just straight up going one single crochet in every stitch. So I'm just going to speed this up and I'll meet you back at the end of the row. So in this next row, we're going to start our decreasing. And how we'll do that is we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll decrease by going into the front loops of each stitch, like so. Pulling the thread through once and then once again. So this will be 6, 7, 8, 9, and once again another decrease. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and decrease on 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and decrease on 25. 26, 27, 28, 29, and decrease on 30, of course, then for a total of 30. Okay, and on this next row, we're going to be doing 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then a decrease. So that's 1, 2, 3, and decrease on 4. Five, 6, 7, decrease on 8. 9, 10, 11, and then decrease on 12. 13, 14, 15, then decrease on 16, 17, 18, 19, decrease on 20. 21, 22, 23, then decrease on 24. And then you're done with this row. So with this row, we're going to do 1, 2, and then a decrease. So that's 1, 2, decrease on 3, 4, 5, decrease on 6, 7, 8, decrease on 9, so sorry about the cameras being set down so low. I really didn't do quite well in that regard. Okay, that was 11, and here we are going in for our 12th stitch. 13, 14, decrease on 15, 16, 17, decrease on 18, 'Alright, and then with this next row we're going to do 1 stitch and then a decrease. So there's 1, decrease on 2, 3, 'Lost it. Decrease on 4, 5, decrease on 6, 7, decrease on 8, 9, decrease on 10, 11, and then just decrease on 12. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stuff it and be right back. So here is our stuffed Sans head. As you can see, it is starting to take shape, and what we're going to do is we're just going to decrease the next 6 stitches and then leave yourself a tail to sew up the rest and poke into the head. And this is what you'll end up with. So this is some of the stuff that you're going to need. It includes a little notepad. You can use some thread, some tacky glue, or you can use wool instead of thread, scissors, and your sewing gear. You'll definitely need a darning needle. That makes it so much easier. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a rough sketch of what I think Sans's eye would look like. And I'm going to cut that out. And what I'm also doing here is I'm just sewing in the leftover tail part as well. So an important part of this process is just to keep putting that paper back onto the eye just to see what the shape looks like. And then you're going to go to your felt, and we're going to go with black for the eyes, and you're just going to cut around that shape. Now I thought that my piece was just a little bit too small, so I'm going to cut around it in just a little bit bigger. And then it's time to cut out the second eye. Now you have a little bit of an option. What I've just done there is cut the eye out in white felt as well. So you can either cut whatever shapes you're cutting out with felt, you can cut it in another color so that way you can see it. And then another option is once you've got it exactly the way you want, you can take that first initial sketch or even just another piece of paper and glue your piece of felt down to that paper, and that will help it retain its shape for when you want to cut out more. But since I'm only doing this once, I'm just going with the general. Unfortunately this next piece isn't that well shot, but what I'm doing is just folding a piece of paper in half and cutting around in the shape of a smile. And then like what I did with the eye, I'm just going to cut it a little bit bigger on the black felt, and then what I've just cut out here will be cut out almost exactly on the white felt, so that way he can have a bit of a border on his smile. Then just constant trimming, constant trimming, constant trimming. Hey there, Sansi, looking pretty good. Alright, I'm just gonna put some... I wish I'd had a blue one actually, that would have looked cool. Anyway, I'm going to put some pins in his eyes, and the first thing I'm going to sew down is his mouth. I'm gonna use the black wool from earlier. You can use the thread if you want to, it's just that you'll then need probably some black thread to go back through and some black wool, sorry, to go back through and do his nose. So under the mouth, I'm going to tie a knot. And so that I don't lose my thread, I usually thread a second darning needle so that way I can not lose track of the other one, and just a little bit easier. So you're just going to sew up and over, and you just want to insert your stitches just behind or under the mouth, not over and on top of the mouth, because you don't want any stray lines, because these are going to form the lines for his teeth. Another important part is you want the felt to be nice and snug against the head, but at least on this one, you don't want to pull too tight, because then it's going to dimple and it's not going to create the right look. And then once I'm done, I'm not going to tie off a knot just yet. I'm going to go up through the face and do the first line of his nose. I'm so sorry. I wish you could see this a little bit better. If you need to see this part a little bit more clearly, I will make sure that I do it better on papyruses, so then that way you get to see how I do the nose. Anyway, so on that top part of the little triangle that is becoming his nose, I'm going to just insert the wool back in, and then I'll be poking it through his eyes. And once again, you want it to be snug, but you don't want to pull it too tight, because then the eyes are going to crinkle up. As for why we're going to sew the eyes on instead of just straight up gluing, some felts you can just straight up glue it, but if you live in Australia, Lincraft and unfortunately a lot of the discount shops now are now having Sullivan's, I think that's what it's called, yeah, Sullivan's felt. It's I guess good quality felt, but it doesn't glue very well to things that are not itself. Or I guess it glues to paper pretty well, but like not to fabric, not to wool. So, well, while it will do an okay job, just sewing down the big pieces will go a long way. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put glue behind all of the little gappy areas that you haven't sewn down. And I'm also going to finish this off by going through and putting a little stitch on the bottom. And then I'm going to put the thread through the head, and then that'll be the black part of the head all done. So and remember, don't push too hard on felt, otherwise the glue will come through a little bit and it might kind of, what I call ghost through, because it kind of has like this semi-translucent look through it. So if you ever hear me referring to ghosting on an item, it means pale or grey light sort of film going over it that makes it look a little bit foggy. So what I've done is I've taken that template of the white felt that I made earlier for the eyes, and I'm going to cut out 2 of these in that shape for his little round circles, and this will make it a good approximation of the size and the overall curvature. Once I've glued down the eyes, just by giving him a little pat, I'm going to go in with my super sharp scissors and just tidy up some of the edges while it's still drying and still a little bit flexible. Just be careful not to get too Alright, so the last step will be to get an even smaller hook. I think this one was like a 2.5mm hook. And you're just going to insert it in the top of the head and pull either your ribbon or your wool through there and tie a knot. And to make sure it doesn't fray, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the ends and just use my fingers to rub it in, and that way it'll stay together and look a little bit neater. I just ran out of blue ribbon, but I will be going out later today, so I'll probably replace it when I get back. Alright, I hope you liked this craft, and tomorrow we'll be working on papyrus. Happy crafting! Bye!